What's up, Detailers Daily? This podcast is brought to you by our mates at Autofiber Australia, so providing the world's finest microfiber right here in Australia. As a professional detailer, it's so important not only to use real high quality products, but also real fine quality towels as well. I never thought too much into the microfiber, but once I started using and to test out the Autofiber range, I really noticed the difference in efficiency and I'm getting better results, and the towels last way longer. The Scrub Ninjas, coating applicators, drying towels are just some of the products I use, and they're well worth the money. So make an order today and use the code 15DDUP and get 15% off, and they'll even throw in a free product. So head over to autofiber.com.au or check them out on Instagram, Autofiber Australia. Thanks. Hey guys, Dale here again. Before we kick off today's episode, I'd like to make mention of our online detail training course we have available. Brought to you by the man himself, Todd Cooperrider of Esoteric Elite Detailer Academy. So what is it? It's a 3-day in-person auto detail training, but it's now offered online, all from the comfort of your own home, including paint correction and ceramic coating courses, both classroom and hands-on sessions for each course, 62 videos and quizzes, and it's exclusive content that's not available on YouTube. So who is it for? It's for the enthusiast, the inspiring business owner of a detailing business, and also a pro to even brush up on techniques they might not even know. So head over to our Instagram and the link in our bio, and it'll direct you to the Esoteric Detail Academy training page, and use the code Down Under for $100 off for April only. So take advantage of it, guys, and make use of it and enjoy it. Thanks.
Welcome to the Detailing Down Under podcast, the place for everything auto detailing in Australia right now. Here's your host, Dale Guthrie.
G'day and welcome to the Detailing Down Under podcast. I'm your host, Dale Guthrie. We're back into it. Had a lot of good feedback recently, so thanks for that, and thanks for everyone's support for listening in. It's been really good, and we'll probably touch on in April, just to remind everyone, we've got our Esoteric Elite Detailer Academy discount going on. So I put it in last week's show notes, and it'll be in this one as well. So yeah, that kicks off in April. So we'll promote a bit more around that when April ticks over. So, but yeah, just something to think about for anyone up and coming, looking to get in and do some training, but it's online, a little bit different. And if you just want to have a look at that, yeah, it's all in the show notes. So, and I'll touch more on our Instagram and our bio. So, but pretty cool one today. I've always followed this shop online, and his shop alone got a mention a while back, just for the presence of it and how it looks. And I always said, I just mentioned before to him that we love cool looking shops on here, and his was definitely impressive. And yeah, we've been chatting about it, and he does a fair bit of PPF, so he's pretty big in Sydney with the PPF game. So I thought, yep, he's a good addition to the pod. So like to welcome Mitch from Sydney Premium Detailing. How you going, mate?
Good, mate. How you doing? Thanks for having me on.
That's all right. You're no, it's been, I always talk about bucket lists and on this pod, but yeah, I think what you do is obviously in your name to a premium standard. So I think yeah, it's pretty cool to have you on.
Yeah, thanks, man. Really appreciate that. And yeah, looking forward to sharing my story and views on things in the industry. So yeah, that'll be good.
No, that's all right. You've been around a little bit. So how long and where did Sydney Premium Detailing all begin?
Officially, it began full time in 2015, but I started a mobile detailing business in 2011. That was called Shine Mobile Car Detailing. I just got off my P's and bought a nice VE Club Sport and wanted to make it look really nice, make it look shiny and wax it and everything like that, and didn't really know how to. So went on the old YouTube and watched a bunch of videos, and then bought the polisher, and it was just your basic DA polisher, and polished it and waxed it, and like it probably looked terrible compared to today's standards, but at the time it was amazing, and we got so many comments on it, and just people, just mates and stuff, and family friends going, "Oh wow, car looks so good. How do you do it?" And I said, "Oh well, I do it myself." And they're like, "Oh, do you want to do mine? I'll give you some cash." I was like, "Oh yeah." When you're earning 35, 40 grand a year, it's an extra 300 bucks on a weekend's pretty all right. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty much how it all started, man.
So you're running 2 jobs and then mobile full time?
Yeah. So I was just in warehouse pick packing at that time, and yeah, started doing the mobile stuff after work during summer when we had a lot of daylight, and just on weekends. I'd only ever been in northwest Sydney. I wouldn't travel too far away from home from when I lived with my parents. So yeah, that's pretty much how it all started. I think started out doing washes for 35 bucks on a small car, and then $50 for a sedan or a four-wheel drive. So yeah, come a long way.
The old mobile game, we've talked to a few others on here about that. That's hard work, and even alone in Sydney, I think one guy
Yeah.
mentioned. Yeah.
I mean, it's especially like we were just chatting before the pod started. Just how big Sydney is. Like you can't cover it all. It's not possible.
Mm.
You can drive, you know, you could drive an hour or 2 hours and still not be from one end to the other. So, whereas you do that in any other state, you're in proper country.
Yep.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it was just I when I started, I thought, you know what, I'll do northwest, the hills area, Blacktown, around Blacktown and Castle Hill, that sort of area. I won't really go further than that because it becomes not worth it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I got a few good stories and stuff out of doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was just mentioning the traffic around Sydney because we were there the other week in that area, and it was like, yeah, I don't know if I could live there. It's pretty hectic to drive around there in the
Yeah,
tolls and
yeah.
stuff. So yeah, no,
If you've been born and raised in it, you're kind of used to it. But
yep.
yeah, like I like to do road trips with the family and stuff, and you get into the smaller towns, and this would be all right. I could live here.
So when did you get a shop, or when did you do a fixed location?
The first shop was in 2015, and I was sharing it with a guy that did vinyl wrapping. And it was awesome. It was in Castle Hill. The deal that we had was, no bond, month to month rent. So it was like the perfect scenario to start a shop. Um, at that point in my warehousing job, I was on contracts. So I was on 12-month contracts, and they didn't want to renew my contract and pay me what I wanted. So I went, oh, okay, well, I'll just, I might first try and go to uni and upskill a bit. Did 2 weeks of that and went, no, this isn't happening. When you're 25 and going to uni, it's way different than when you're 18 and going to uni.
Mm.
And then I went, oh, okay, well, maybe I'll just give this detailing thing a go. I've been doing it for 4 years, basically just mobile and part time, every other weekend. And I've got a semi decent customer base in the hills. So we'll, yeah, partner up with this guy that does vinyl wrapping, and, he pays half the rent. So it kind of makes it easy. I only got to book one coating a week, and I'm good. I'm good.
Yep. The vinyl wrap, and that would have been pretty new back then too, or not?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think back then was probably at almost the height of vinyl wrapping. Um, I think it's still quite big now, but in Sydney, it's not too big to have a full color change sort of wrap these days.
Yep.
But yeah, like from 2015 to maybe 2018 or 2020, even it was huge. Um, we used to get asked all the time, "Do you guys do vinyl wraps?" And we're like, "Oh yeah, well we can. We're in the same shop as another guy, so it'd be good because they'd get it vinyl wrapped, and then they'd pay me, 500-600 bucks to put a coating over the vinyl, and it worked out. We both made money, but vinyl's a really messy job, especially with having to take car parts off, and when you've only got a small shop and you're
Mm.
both trying to work around it. It got a little hard. So I think it was the start of 2016. I just went, dude, I'm out. I'm going to do my own thing. And yeah, went from there.
Yeah. No, I was listening to another pod the other day with a guy in Australia here that I don't know. I think he started it off with the vinyl wrap, and I might reach out to him, but we'll see where that ends up. But yeah, haven't had too much thought in that sort of game. Either it was all about PPF really, but
Yeah, I mean, every guy that owns a vinyl shop will tell you don't get into vinyl. They just do PPF. Like a couple of guys up in Brizzy that are, a big vinyl, that were a big vinyl shop. He just goes, we do it because that's how we started and we have to. And now we just really, ideally, we just want to do PPF. We don't want to be doing vinyl. So
yeah, right. So that where you are now, how long you been there for?
in this current shop, only just over 12 months.
Oh yeah.
We've moved a lot, man. Like that first shop, the first shop I started with that vinyl wrapper, we were in it for 3 months. The shop got sold. The guy that bought it wanted to move in.
Oh.
So it was a big complex. So we just found another unit in the complex. Then after another 8 or 9 months, that's when I started my own shop, which was in the same complex again, just one of the lower levels. Then we moved up the road, then, down the road again, pretty much next door to where we are now. And then the shop next door opened up and it was, almost 3 times the size of what we had next door. So we jumped across to this one because it's all the same owner. We didn't have to, pay a release or anything like that. So it worked out well, but it kind of underestimated the cost of how much it is to fit out a shop this big.
Yeah, I was going to jump into that because that's what I thought. You've been in that same and you've just done a makeover in that shop, but that's a complete new shop you're in now.
Correct. Yeah.
Where you were. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Did you have to dismantle what you had in the other one? I know you had some coating rooms and.
Yeah, luckily the guys that took over were they're a plumbing business, but they also sell like the big water jetters and everything like that, and proper high pressure washers. So none of the stuff we'd be using because it'd just strip paint off. But he was like, dude, you've got AC and you've got the bays and stuff here. He's like, I want all this as like a showroom. So I'll give you some money for the air conditioning and you don't have to tear down anything. You don't have to do anything. You just have to move next door. And I said, okay, that sounds good. So yeah,
Nice.
saved me probably, $5,000 to $10,000 in, doing your make good of the place. So
yeah. And
yeah,
then how long did it take to deck out what you've got there now? Like, what was
a job that probably should have taken realistically 30 days took 3.5 months. Couple of reasons. Actually, no, it's probably more than that. It's about 5 months. We got the keys in October and we moved in March 22. Yeah. So, a couple of reasons for that was it's basically got to the height of supply issues for material. So gyprock, steel framing for all the bays and stuff like that, and the offices upstairs. We just couldn't get enough. So it'd do a bit, put it up, wait another 2 or 3 weeks for more material, do a bit, same sort of thing. And then in December, we found out that the toilet block in here was riddled with termites. So we had to battle with the landlord for him to knock it down and fix it, basically. So that took and it was all in between Christmas as well. So, you might as well wipe out 3 weeks just because of Christmas.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it was probably by the end of February, the toilet block was all sorted. That was all fixed. And then by the end of March, we'd had everything up and painted, epoxy done, the glass doors up, all the bays sorted. So yeah, we moved in towards the end of March last year.
Yeah, right. Did you do much research around what design you wanted, or did you base off what you had?
Yeah, a lot. Dan from Detail Central actually helped us out a lot. Not so much in design, but we really wanted to have the cleanest water possible because Sydney water is quite harsh. You probably experienced something similar in Mount Gambier as well. There's a lot of minerals that can leave, deposits on the car that water spot. Even if, you're washing a car, someone walks in and you've got to go tend to them. Sometimes they can be here for an hour. Water dries and cool. I have to put a lot more effort into polishing the car and getting rid of those water spots now that I've created. So he helped a lot with big water filters that, make it as pure as possible. We just rinse cars down and, let them dry and they don't water spot. So that's good. The other thing was in our PPF bay, we have these sprayers in the roof, which we turn on, every few panels just to get dust out of the air. And that water also has to be super filtered. So
it would, yeah. Yep.
yeah, quite a bit
Wow.
of cost in doing all that and your air conditioning and that sort of thing. Because that's the thing. We'll touch on it a bit more with PPF. It's really temperature dependent as well. Too hot, it doesn't work. Too cold, it doesn't work. So.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I was going to say about the building supplies issue. So, yeah, how'd you go with lighting? Because your roof light's
Lighting, we
pretty.
pretty much could just transfer from the old shop to the new one. We had to buy more, but just because of the size. But we kind of switched up lighting in the detailing bay. We found we had hex lights previously, and they just don't really show anything. They don't show defects. They make color cool, but they're for Instagram really. They're a cool looking light. They definitely are,
Yeah.
and they look good in photos, but they're just not practical, which is what we found after almost 2 years of dealing with them. And when you're polishing under them for a day, like a couple of the boys were off, and I had to get on the polisher and polish a car. I think after 4 or 5 hours, it started to get a headache.
Mm.
So it's just a lot of light. So yeah, we've gone down lights in our correction side of things. Then when we need to coat the car, we just have panel lights as well. So switch the panel lights on, coat it, and just good for detecting high spots and that sort of thing.
Yep. And definitely love the color, like a black. I got a black wall in mine, and I think
Yeah,
that really stands out. And you see other places nowadays. I think even the Rupert's place is like completely blacked out as well. They
yeah,
painted that black. So
yeah. I get a lot of my inspiration for shop like design and colors from America and Europe. Um, I think we were one of the first guys in Sydney to have the hex lights, and then within a few months, everyone had them. So, and a black wall with black room with hex lights, it looks cool.
yep.
And dark flooring, it all looks awesome, but not the most practical. So,
Nah.
um, same with this shop. We decided to put hanging lights and stuff in the shop and paint it black, and now we've seen another 4 or 5 guys that have gotten into detailing have got a shop, and it looks very similar to ours now. So it's just, yeah, we try and do things a little bit different every time we, make little adjustments.
Yeah, I like the hex lights on the wall. I think some guys have put them on the wall, maybe like as a feature.
Yep.
But
Yeah, that's
yeah,
cool.
I have heard about correcting under them. They are not the best. They're not good.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how guys like some guys put it as their, basically their roof. They just hang from the ceiling and they're wrapping under it and they're detailing under it. Like you get a white car in there, man, you're gonna go blind. There's that much light coming from them. It's just you need to wear sunglasses. So
Wow. And what was the plan with your epoxies rather than I think a lot of places do Swiss tracks and stuff like that?
um we've done Swiss tracks before. It looks great again, but
Not
it's
practical.
just, especially for detailing, it's fine. It's not that bad. But for PPF, I just think it's terrible because all the water and gel gets under there. And as much as people say, oh, it dries out, it's like, you probably use, quite a few liters of water and gel every car you do. That doesn't dry out. It's not in
Mm.
the sun, and it starts to stink. And yeah, we did that for a little while in one of the previous shops, and ever since then I've gone, epoxy. We've got a big floor scrubber that we just vacuum it all up with. At the end of the day, it's clean, it's done.
Yeah. No, I always wonder that because yeah, similar. I got race deck. They're
Yeah,
the flat tiles. They're probably not the best with water on them. But
yeah.
yeah, you can squeegee it off and mop it up. And
Do you find you can roll around on your detailing seat all right on them as well?
yeah,
Yeah.
yep,
The ones we had probably a bit of an older style where they had like a rounded top. So you'd roll along them and you'd be bouncing along every time you tried to roll along. So that was a bit painful, and you just don't have that issue with epoxy.
no, no,
But I understand why people do it. It's especially considering in Sydney, not many people own their shops. Like we're all renting. So you think, I'm spending all this money just for some other guy
yep,
to profit off it. So I get that point of view, but I just want things to be easy, man. I think we've done it enough and been doing it long enough that I think we've got our systems in place and what works and what doesn't.
yep. Did you have to put a wash bay in, or how does that work normally?
Yep. So we put a wash bay in. We've got a drain in there as well that separates everything and filters it all out. We used to just vacuum it up and then get it collected. Now that's long gone now. So having a drain is perfect. Yeah.
Yep, yep. No, nice. So what are your main services? Like even when was, and even probably back in the day, when would you start coatings?
Coding's really early. I think probably 2012, 2013, we started using Body Armor 9H, which is I don't know if you've heard of that, but it's
Mm.
a lot of the OG guys around Sydney would probably and around Australia probably know. We started that in 2013, and it was your basic sort of correction and coding on new cars. Then we moved to Geon in 2015 or 16, one of those two. And then now we're currently on G Technic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Oh, at least you've moved around a bit and experienced a few, which is good. So
Yeah, we've tried pretty much every coding there is, and we've stuck with G Technic just for ease of application, one layer for most of the time as well, so it's a lot quicker. And we never have anyone come back with any issues of spotting or anything like that, or it's not beating after a few years. It's good coding. It's really good.
yeah, I experienced it the other week in the Chicago Auto Pros train, which was something different, and it was good to use it. And I could see why everyone does use it. It's very simple
Yeah.
and easy wipe off as well.
Yep.
One layer, or you can double layer it, but I'm the same. I prefer a one layer system.
Yeah, we have a couple of packages where we will do our most popular one's just the one layer, but if they want EXO over the top of it as well, we charge extra for that. But yeah, that's what's on my car, man. It's just PPF on the front and the side skirts, and then Ultra and EXO on the rest of the car, and that was done well over 18 months ago now, and you'd think it was coated yesterday.
Yeah.
And it's funny, they say detailers don't wash their cars. Mine probably gets washed once every 4 to 6 weeks. So
All right, I don't feel so bad now. Ours is pretty
nah,
filth at the moment, and
that's right.
you're too busy doing everyone else's, like we say. So
Yeah, exactly. That's it. I don't have time to do my own car. So
yeah, no, cool. Much paint correction back then, starting out.
yeah, not too much without a coating. I sort of got into it relatively quickly, where I thought, well, what's the point of correcting the paint? They're not going to be protected. Like you're going to wash it once, especially a flat black Japanese car. And even though coatings don't offer that much resistance to swells and stuff like that, I think they offer some anyway. And I was just always of the opinion, well, what's the point of just doing a correction, having it look beautiful, for you to wash it incorrectly in 2 weeks and it be back to just how it was. So we always thought about coatings ever since day one, really. So
How did you get stuck into the PPF? What was the idea around that?
again, back to when we had the shop with the vinyl guy, he started dipping his feed into PPF, and he was actually using Expel. And we were putting it. I had a customer that said, I'm getting a new, I think it was an A45. I'm getting an A45 and I want it coated, but I want this like clear stuff on the front. It's called Expel. I went, oh, okay. Spoke to my mate and said, oh, can you do this? He's like, oh yeah, it's whatever, no dramas. Did that, and then he was showing me the self-healing and everything. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, wow, that's cool. I got to get into that. So it was probably, after we parted ways, it was probably 12 months after that we did the Expel training in 2016. Yeah, midway through 2016. And then, ever since then, we've been on Expel and loving it.
Yeah. No, nice. And that's pretty much that'll be your main business right now?
Yeah, PPF and coatings, man. That's pretty much it. We don't really do anything else apart from PPF and coatings.
Yep. How many employees you got there?
We did have 7 at one point. We're now down to 6, just because one of them has to travel well over an hour to get to work, and he just got to the point where he's like, dude, I just can't do it anymore. I said, okay, no dramas, understand. Mm. So he's working for his old man in another industry, a lot closer to home. We still talk and everything, so it's not like it ended on bad terms. It's just, I get it. Like, I don't want to travel an hour to work, so why would someone else?
Yep. And we'll probably do another episode later on about employees, but how do you train your guys if they already come with previous say, PPF experience?
No, we've trained them. We train them. In Sydney, there's a lot of guys, especially with PPF side of things. Everyone just wants to contract, which is fine, but it's just a lot of money that you lose paying a contractor to install PPF for you. So while it might be a much longer process to train someone, it works out in the end. It's much more economical to do that.
Yeah.
But with detailers as well, same thing. Like all our detailers are all generally out of school and into cars and have been into cars for a long time and want to learn how to detail. So I'd rather them come fresh than we can teach them the SPD way, rather than, I worked at a car yard and I've been told to do this and chuck the 12-inch pad on the rotary and just whiz over it. No, mate, you're not doing that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's we prefer no knowledge and we can train you.
Yeah. So you said earlier you're probably one of the longest standing ones doing PPF in Sydney, so which is pretty cool. That's a fair while.
Yeah,
back then.
yeah. I think when we first came on board in 2016, there might have been two others in Sydney. One of them had been doing it since the early 2000s, so he was the proper OG guy.
Wow.
And maybe a couple of other vinyl shops that dip their feet into PPF as well on the side. But I mean, we saw the gap where, it was cool to slap film on a car, but we want it to, look as perfect as possibly can be. So it took a while to get there, and there's still, there's always room for improvement. There's still room for improvement, but now our installs are virtually invisible.
That's good. Yep.
Yeah.
Has the film technology come a long way from what you've seen, or is it?
From what we've sort of seen, not really. It kind of had its first big. I mean, it has, but it's not, leaps and bounds. There's always little updates that are happening. So when we first started, film had a lot more orange peel in it. Now a lot of that's virtually gone. Films have come out now with hydrophobic coatings built in as well.
Yeah.
Which we've sort of found just from our experience, because we try everything. We get sent everything. Whenever something comes out, it gets sent to us to test out. So we've tried a few films that have ceramic coatings on them, probably 5 or 6 different brands, and they all do the same thing. They all degrade a lot quicker and they all water spot.
Oh,
So
really?
we've just stuck with putting a ceramic coating over the film rather than one that's built in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the last big jump in PPF was probably 2011 when self-healing PPF came out. So
yeah. All right. You do a lot of high-end cars as well, so that's obviously the Sydney market.
yeah, fortunate enough. Yeah.
It's a funny comment from the boys in Chicago Auto Pros when we were in Sydney. He goes, Eric goes, "Where's all the shit cars? There's no shit cars in Sydney. They're all just, yeah." I noticed that too.
Especially around, I mean, the Hills is a pretty affluent area, and other areas in Sydney as well. At the eastern suburbs and northern beaches, where there's a lot of other PPF and detailing shops. Also, you'll drive past a Ferrari every day. It never used to be like that. Like in the early 2000s, growing up, you'd see a 360 Medina and be like, "Oh my god, it's a Ferrari." Whereas maybe it's just that we're so desensitized to it now. We can see, $2 or $3 million car down the road and just go, "Huh, cool."
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's. How do you find them to work on? Like, what would you say is probably the easiest car to work on?
The easiest car would definitely probably be a Tesla. And the good thing with those guys is they want to spend the money on their cars. They might not have been into cars before, but they are now because it appeals to them. It's their thing. Teslas, most cars are relatively straightforward. And I mean, when you've been doing it as long as we've sort of been doing it, nothing's too hard. It's just some things take longer than others because they're more fiddly. Like Lamborghinis and McLarens have about 10 million pieces to put on, and they're tiny, so they just take longer.
No, interesting. No, it's
yeah.
How long? What's say like a Porsche and that, or a Ferrari? What's the sort of time frame of working on one of them?
Well, our full wraps we generally tell people 5 to 7 business days. But when they come here, they're also never just getting the wrap. They're also getting coating. They'd usually get a glass coating. They'll get interior protection. They'll have, we'll take the wheels off them and coat inside the wheels and that sort of thing as well, and coat the brake calipers and the wheel linings and inside the boot. And it can be endless sometimes. But yeah, generally to actually wrap the car with two of us on it, it's about 3 days to do a Ferrari, depending on the Ferrari as well. Most Porsches we can knock out in, a couple of days.
Yep. No, good. What do you got any daily challenges day in, day out up there? Is products hard to get hold of? Or not really?
No, not so much. Products are pretty readily available. I think our biggest challenge, because we're a bit more expensive than a lot of the other competition in Sydney, is just locking the customer in. We have a lot of customers that just call up and don't even ask price, don't care. They just go, cool, you guys good, I want you to do it. I've seen all your work, just do my car. Okay, no dramas. Like I had a phone call the other day, one guy booked 3 cars in, and then another guy just walked in the door, he wanted 2 cars done. So, that's 5 full wraps booked in the space of 2 hours, which can happen. But, there's also the guys in Sydney that'll shop around to every other installer and, whether they're using Suntech or Expel or any other brand of film, basically, and say, oh, I've got a quote for a full car at $5,000. Why is yours $8,500? And we have to go through that process of explaining and why it is and that sort of thing. I mean, luckily, I don't really have to deal with that too much anymore. I've got a shop manager that deals with all that and handles all the customer inquiries. It's really good at it. But yeah, you can't win them all.
Yep.
You can't possibly wrap every car in Sydney. Like, even if we had 100 staff, it wouldn't be possible.
Yeah. We always say there's enough cars for everyone. So the whole,
right.
like I talk about the culture in your area, like there's enough cars. Why does everyone have to sort of pick on each other when there's that many cars? We can all work on them.
Yeah, exactly. There's 7 million people in Sydney. Like, well, thereabouts. There maybe not that much, but there's thereabouts. Like, there's a lot of cars to do, and we just sort of stick to our market and our regular customers as well, and it all works out.
Do you find if there's a lack of PPF training in Australia, or have you heard much of
definitely.
that? Yeah,
definitely. So I know the boys at Premier Film Distribution are trying to get that up. I always get emails from them saying PPF training, this weekend or next weekend or whatever. The problem with the PPF training is you can't do a 3-day course and know what you're doing. That's just not possible. Like, it'd take you 12 months doing it day in, day out to be at a good level. Like, we've got a guy that we've trained up for the last 12 months, and he picked it up super quick, like quicker than most other people that we've trained and seen. And even still, like, it's 12 months later, he's still, doesn't know everything, doesn't know how to fix certain things, or how to work the film in certain situations. So just, if there's any detailers listening that are going to get into PPF, just be aware that it'll take you a long time and it's expensive.
Yeah, that's a big one. About the cost of it, it's not easy.
Yeah, I mean, like, to give you an idea, for us when we started, I got a good mate, Tim, at Wingard in Adelaide. So he was the Expel guy for Australia. He was just the man. This was in 2016, and I got a client that has about 40, maybe 50 cars now, and he got a M4 GTS that was in matte grey, and he knew that I was getting into films, and he's like, Mitchy, I want you to wrap this M4 GTS. And I said, dude, I've done the training like 2 months ago. Like, I'm not good enough. And he said, okay, well, who's good? And I said, oh, Tim in Adelaide will probably come up and give us a hand. He goes, sweet, let's do that. Let's get him up. We'll do that. And yeah, that was the sort of training I went. We did 1 car. He loved it and went, okay, cool. I've got another 10 cars for you to do. Let's do 1 a month for the next 10 months. So I had once a month, Tim would come up. He'd bring the patterns with him because I didn't have a plotter or anything either. I'd just send him photos of the car, and he'd go in the Expel database and adjust the kits. And most of the time, he'd already done the car anyway. So he'd have done the car in Adelaide. So he just print his saved pattern that he had that wrapped all the edges and it fitted nicely around door handles. And he'd come up for a week or so, and we'd wrap a car or two and play a bit of golf in the meantime as well when we had a bit of downtime in the afternoons. So it was a good time. But yeah, like I said, man, that's 12 months and the cost. And then by the time you get into, all right, finally ready to do this on my own, I'm going to buy a plotter, $8,500 for a plotter.
Yep.
Then you're like, oh, cool, I need film to put in the plotter as well, and I probably need one roll of each size or thereabouts. It's another $10,000 to $15,000 for film. So you're pretty much 25K into film before you start.
Yep. No, that's a good way of explaining it, because I haven't had too many explain the price breakdown of things. So
yeah.
What's do you know much about what's going on with Expel in Australia? I know I've heard some things, but are they going out on their own sort of thing?
Yeah, so they were being distributed through CCP.
Yep.
I'm not sure what the business side of things are, but I'm pretty sure they've done a deal where they've gone, thank you for building the network up. You've done a great job. We're going to now take it over, and we're going to be Expel Australia. So there's no distributor here. It gets flown from Expel in America, or shipped, I should say. It gets shipped from Expel in America to Expel Australia, and then distributed through Expel Australia.
Yeah. No,
that's probably happened in the last 6 months. Yeah, October last year. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I did hear a little bit. Speaking of Tim, I reached out to Tim, so hopefully in the near future I might get him on.
He's legend.
Yeah.
He's become not just a mate, but a bit of a mentor as well. So, and he's just one of those guys where if you're ever having, like, we still have issues with PPF, or why doesn't this kit fit properly? We call Tim and be like, mate, can you help us with this? And he'd say, oh yeah, you just got to do this. Oh, okay, I don't know why I didn't think of that, but thanks, bye. So.
Yeah, no, I did give him a call, and he's interested. I know Sards talks to him a fair bit and gets some help from him every now and then. So yeah he's pretty good for the industry, I think.
Yeah, he is. He just wants to grow Expel in the country. That's his main thing. He just wants everyone to love it, and he wants everyone to help each other, which I think is good. It's how it should be.
Yeah. What's a going rate for a roll these days, a Expel roll of film?
I think depending on how much film you're buying, it's usually around $2,500 plus GST.
Yeah,
maybe a little bit more now. We get a pretty decent deal just because of the volume we do, which I probably can't tell you anyway. But
no, that's right.
Yeah, we get looked after, and I think a lot of the other big guys in Australia get looked after as well. So that's one of the positives of having Expel come on as Expel in Australia, whereas previously it was the same price for everyone, whether you're buying one roll or 20 rolls a month, doesn't matter.
Yeah. Now I was just putting in perspective for everyone out there listening. Like, yeah, the film's not cheap, and then obviously installing rates and stuff. Yeah. That's why it is expensive.
And even if there's I don't know if it's mostly details that listen to the pod, or PPF guys, or if it's enthusiasts as well. Like, just to the enthusiasts out there, like, we're not wrapping your car in cling wrap. Like, it's not a cheap film. It's everyone's putting at least a couple of grand into just buying the material. Then you've got to equate the time it costs to then print on the material as well, and the time it costs to get the patterns right, because the patterns aren't just cut and paste. We take measurements of nearly every point on the car, door handles and everything, to make them fit snug, and we adjust it. So there's a day's labor in adjustment, 2 or 3 days labor in actually fitting the film, then another couple of days labor in all the coatings that go on the car. So that adds up.
Yeah, and especially when you got to pay everyone and rent and everything, it all adds up. So no, that's good. So is there much else within our industry, on it being in it a while, that we could improve, you reckon?
I think you've touched on it a few times as well with other guys, is just training. There's no standardized medium that everyone has to sort of get to before they can start a business. It was like me. I went and spent a couple $1,000 and boom, business done. It's not an expensive business to get into. You get a polisher, you get some pads, you get some polishers. You buy yourself a couple of coatings, and you're pretty much good to go. Especially if you're going to start mobile.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, and especially with PPF, the training's a big thing. Because like I said, it just takes a lot of time.
Yeah, I think having sort of levels of PBF training with the sort of the entry level, beginner, and then advanced, and maybe
Yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah, no, I got into it. I've only very basic into it, and yeah, no, I'm still definitely learning, that's for sure. But yeah,
yeah.
I'm chasing more training as well because you want to get better at it. So, and there's always tips and tricks that everyone else knows that you don't. Everyone's
Yeah, I
different.
mean, it's something that we've floated the idea of in terms of training, and I mean, we've got the facility for it. We've got more than enough knowledge for it, but I think a lot of the people we'd be training would probably be business owners, and I mean, everyone knows how to polish a car.
Mm.
Like we all know how to correct a car, we know how to apply a coating. I think the business side of things and how to be successful is what's the hardest part. Um, but yeah, when it comes to PPF, yeah, applying the film is the hardest part.
Yeah. Are you using a lot of gel more than?
Yes,
Yep.
yeah. So we use gel for installs. We kind of use a mix of soapy water and gel together. I'll usually put soapy water on the panel, then spray gel on the soapy water, and then put the film on. A couple of reasons for that. It adds a little bit more slip to the um, solution. So sometimes you don't want too much slip, so I'll just use my gel in that. Sometimes I want more, so I'll just put the soapy water on. So it's just the way we've always done it, and just what I'm used to, really.
Yep. Yeah, no, I'm hearing that a fair bit around gel.
Yeah,
Also,
gel's
you're right.
yeah. The thing with the gel that we love about it is, no matter what you do, our PPF bay is as clean as you could possibly get, right? Like we've got HEPA filters, air conditioning, the sprayers that get all the dust out of the air. Stuff comes off me and gets under the film. It's just, unless we're, doing it in a full hazmat suit, it's just going to happen. So, um, the thing we love about the gel is that even if there is a dust or a little hair or something into the film and you can see it, you don't need to pull it up and risk getting more dust under it. You can often be really gentle with it and just push the dust out through the gel. Whereas with soapy water, you can't do that.
Yeah. Yep.
Because whatever it is, that particle generally gets stuck in the gel between the film and the panel. So you can just push it out, and that makes life a lot easier.
Well, it's interesting. I've never used
Yeah.
gel, so and I've seen some being used like on sort of bigger bonnets that are hard to deal with. Yeah, you don't have to keep lifting and spraying and
Yeah.
stuff like that. It just stays
Yeah. I
down.
think the thing a lot of the guys are quite cautious of when using gel is just the cost.
Yep.
It is expensive, but you probably go through $30 to $40 worth of gel in a whole car. So when you put it back down to that, and we're charging 8.5 grand for a full car, it's $30-$40. Who cares?
Yep.
Like, what are you gonna do with that $30-$40? Buy a cup of coffee a day for the next week? Like that's it.
Yep. Yeah, and
Especially
probably.
in Sydney, I don't know what coffee is in Mount Gambier, but here you're not paying anything less than $5.50, $6. So
Yeah, that's standard here. I think it's the
yeah,
Aussie rate for
it's
coffee.
it's the national rate. Yeah, good. Okay.
Similar to fuel, but it doesn't jump as high.
Yeah,
But
pretty much.
no, that's good, and it probably give you a better finish or install. Not so much a finish, but a better install with gel. So
Uh, better's um, better's not maybe not the right term. I think just different, just easier. It's just
easier.
easier to
Yep.
install with. Like, I mean, we tried just using soapy water for a little while there, and I did a couple of cars in it. And I hate this. I got to tack one end, and while the other end's falling off the car because it's soapy. And whereas with the gel, it kind of just like doesn't tack to it, but it just like holds. It just holds there. Like I can be halfway through a door, someone will walk in, I can go talk to him for half an hour, come back, just re-gel that spot. The film's still on the car, hasn't fallen onto the ground, and I can just keep going with it.
Yeah. Have you had much dramas with templates for new cars, like getting them, or is Expel pretty onto all that?
Expel's probably them and Suntech to be the biggest guys that do the templates. So, with a lot of them, like some the Australian-made cars, the Australian cars like your Rangers and stuff, are all templated here. The a lot of them are also made in the US and the UK, so that's for the international cars. But yeah, Tim down in Adelaide actually does the Australian side of things. So there's often cars that have gone past in the last few years, like the GTSR W1s and stuff, where Tim's made the patents for those, and the whole network's thankful because it's just more work we can do. So
yeah, right. No, it's
but
cool.
yeah, generally they're pretty quick on it. The only cars we really had to wait for was when the i30N came out. We had a lot of people wanting to wrap the front of those, and there was no patents. But the guys in the UK did it maybe 2 months after. And the when the F90 M5 came out, so I think 2018 or 19 it might have been, we had to wait. Yeah, I think Australia was one of the first countries to actually get that car. So we had to wait a couple of months for that. So we tell the customer, sorry, you're just going to have to wait. We can put something temporary on your bumper and your bonnet, but everything else is going to have to just wait.
Yep. Now I've had customers request me for stuff, and it's not that
I mean,
have
if that happened now, we'd just tell them, cool, we just do a custom install. But at that time, I wasn't good enough to bulk or do custom install with film, so I just always wanted to use the patents. Whereas now we just, mate, we'll just have to bulk it. It just have to be custom. So
Yep. Yeah. I was going to say about the bulking, you probably wouldn't do a huge amount of it. Obviously, if there's no patent, you'd do it.
yes, try not to. Definitely
Yep.
try not to. It's hard to justify to the customer when we're already quoting them 8.5 templates. Even though we adjust them all to fit amazingly, it's then hard to adjust them to justify them another couple grand in, the extra 3 days we're probably going to spend bulking the whole car. So, yeah, we try not to do it, but there's always guys with the older cars, like older Ferraris or older Porsches or whatever that say, I need a protected man. Like I don't want it to get damaged. Yeah, okay, cool, no worries.
Yep. No, interesting. The other one was about have you used the Expel Fusion code, and have you had much to do with that?
Yep,
I know that
every day. We use it every day.
Yep. So is
So
that
every car that we do gets ceramic coated. It's all included in the price. And yeah, man, we love it. It's really, really good. It's super sleek. It beads like crazy. And it beads for a long, long time. Like we've had my wife's car we had for 2 years. Again, it was just like beating day one, and my cars don't really get looked after or washed that well.
yeah? So that's your film coating. So you put that on the film.
Yeah, I think you can use it on paint too, but we haven't really bothered using it on paint. I think it's a little harder to apply to paint. It's a bit more like it doesn't streak when you apply it. It's more like it's very smeary, like it smears around a lot. So you're constantly chasing high spots when you're using it on paint. But on film, there's not an issue.
Yeah. No, nice. All right. We might get into your 6-stage questions.
Yep.
I did send them to you, so some
I
people forget.
I had a quick little look through them, but like I said, I've been listening to the pod a fair bit in the last couple of weeks, and I think I've kind of got them. So
Yeah. No, that's all right. I usually try and send them to most people. I have forgot in the past, that's for sure. So, can you remember your first ever detailing job?
I can. It's apart from my own car, my first paying one was my old boss at the warehouse. I worked at, and I was just talking to him like I think I'm going to start this business, and he was the owner of the company, actually a big company, and he was chatting to me because he loves cars, and he said, I said, I'm going to start my own business, just detailing. I'm just going to do it mobile and on the weekends, just for some extra money. I'm still committed to my job here, but just for some extra money. And he goes, oh, okay. And he goes, oh yeah, cool. Well, do you want to do my car? And he had this, black E350, I think it was, a beautiful Mercedes, about 2008 or 9 model. And I said, oh yeah, cool. He said, how much are you going to charge? And so I haven't gotten that far in figuring out how much I'm going to charge for all this stuff. And he said, well, I paid the guys at the local car wash $200 to do a hand polish and interior detail on the car every year. He said, but I'll pay you $400 because I know be a lot more OCD with it. Oh, it's like, shit, $400. Like, man, are you serious? $400? Yeah, cool, no worries. So I think I spent 2 days on it. Did it in the warehouse over the weekend because I didn't really have a space to do it. And it was just convenient for him because he lived in Avalon and I lived in Castle Hill, so it's a bit of a trek. But yeah, we did it at the warehouse, and I did the whole wash, decontaminate it. I don't think I even had a machine then. I think I just hand polished it with like auto glim super resin polish, and it filled in everything. It filled in all the scratches. Scrubbed the leather, made it look amazing, and yeah, I think that was the first car that I think I ever actually got paid for, and he loved it, and I did it a couple more times, and yeah, it kind of just went on from there.
That's good.
Yeah,
Favorite polisher? Do you have a certain brand in your shop? Or
yeah, we use the Ruper's corded polishers. So your Bigfoot polishers really. I like the 15.
Yep.
So yeah, the 15 I find just it gets into most of the nooks and crannies. But I think my favorite one is probably the new Flex cordless polishers. We've got a little 3-inch one, or a couple of them now. We've got a couple of 3-inch ones that you can put. I think you can put a 2-inch backing plate on them and a 1-inch backing plate. It all comes in the kit, and man, those things are awesome. They're so good. I was on the fence thinking, well, if you're using cordless polishers, the battery degrades, so your power degrades, so your cutting ability degrades.
yeah.
It's never going to be as good as when it's fully charged. But pretty much all the way through to when it's last little light, it's really consistent. So yeah, I think that'd be my favorite polisher for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that gets a lot of comments on this pod about that one. So the PXE80 or something, I even know about it now. So
yeah, I'm not sure what the exact model is. I just know it's the little Flex that's cordless.
Yep.
So yeah, it comes in handy, and we use it in the PPF bay all the time. If there's ever a little blemish that we need to get out before we wrap it, it's just quick and easy. Grab it, don't have to plug it in. Chuck some polish on a pad, put it on, done.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the cordless tools coming in?
Yeah, and like I said, really impressive. We haven't used the bigger ones yet. I still don't think they're going to have the balls to really do a proper correction. Like if you get an old 7 Series come in BMW where the paint's absolutely like a rock, I don't know if it's going to chew through that. No matter what pad and compound you use, but I mean, we'll see. We haven't really experimented too much with them. Like I said, our go-to is the Ruper's Bigfoot system and their polishers and compounds and stuff like that, and their pads. And we haven't had an issue, so I'm kind of in the frame of mind of if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yep. Yeah, because I was talking the other week to someone about it. In sort of, I know the rotary's making a fair comeback with a lot of people starting to use that again. They'll either finish out with that or use
we've got to crack that out probably once a week on a car. Like they're not all new cars that come in. Like we just had a CLA 45, the first gen, come in last week, and yeah, the boys tried the Bigfoot system and bunch of different pads and polishers, and just wasn't working. So we gave them a quick crash course on how to use the rotary, and luckily nothing went wrong. But yeah, I think you still can't beat it for cutting.
Yep.
There's just nothing that can compare to it. Like the DAs, even the forced rotation ones, don't have the balls.
No, and that's what I was saying to the guy. I said, most of my market's new car, so then you probably don't need a rotary for new cars. Yeah, so right. I sort of settled with a DA, but yeah, you do get the odd one like I did the other day, an old one, and it does need a rotary. Would have been quite handy. So
yeah, you're not going to get a good finish using the cut anyway. So you might as well just mow through it all, make the paint look terrible, and you can refine that with your Bigfoot because it's not too much of a difficult process to get rotary trails out. So that's my way of thinking it, and trying to be as efficient as possible as well.
Yeah, you're probably not on the tools as much, but do you know roughly what polishers everyone's using these days?
Not on the detailing tools. I'm wrapping cars every day, but
Yeah.
um, the yeah, the polishers they use are generally with the Bigfoot system. So the blue Rupus one, I think it
Yep.
is Corsa, I think it's called.
Yep.
They'll usually go to that, and then if they're doing a two-stage, they'll finish it down with the Shine Supply polish. I don't know. I've just always liked the Shine Supply polishes. I don't know if they're still a big brand anymore, but they were huge for a little while there. So yeah,
Yep.
we use Shine Supply classic polish, and it just it gives you that tiny little bit of cut to remove the hazing and the micro abrasions that you get from cutting the car, and gives you an awesome finish as well.
Yep. Ah, cool. What's your dream car?
I've got a couple. I
Yep.
think an attainable dream car for me would probably be like a Porsche 911 Turbo S. Something that's just totally unattainable, I think, would probably be, one of the Ferraris, maybe a F12 TDF, which I mean, I've been lucky enough to spend a bit of time in and drive around because one of our clients has one and he wants me to go and pick it up from his house and bring it back. And then I'm more than happy to do that for him. So, um, yeah, that's probably one of my favorite cars, man. Like I've always been into Ferraris. So hearing a naturally aspirated V12 sing on the on ramp of the M2 in Sydney is pretty good.
Mm. Yeah. Nah, cool. Favorite detailing tool or product?
Um, Detailing tool again, it's probably the Flex. I think that's just awesome. I think it's just such a good innovation to be able to, like when I first started, you had to buy one of every polisher. You had to buy 3 inch. You had to buy a 15. The 15. I also had a 21 at the time as well for the just your big panels. So I think, and I had an hybrid too when that came out.
Mm.
So now that this polisher has gotten rid of two other polishers that I don't need, so I think they were 20% off recently, and I think we bought the second one for like $600 with the whole kit and everything. You can't beat it.
Mm. No,
But yeah, that'd definitely be the favorite tool. Yeah,
they're pretty light too, actually. Like when you pick them up, you
yeah,
think they're going to be heavy as, but
they
they're
weigh
not.
nothing. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're lighter than the corded ones.
Yep. Yeah. So, any tips for a detailer starting out?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is watch a lot of videos. That's what I did. If you can't get to training, watch a lot of videos. Sign up to someone like Todd Cooperrider's Detailing Academy, or I don't know if the Chicago boys do an online one as well. I think they do. Sign up to something like that
Yeah.
and just learn. That's the biggest thing. And then once you get into the hang of it and you start getting some money in, spend more money on marketing. Just always reinvest in your business. You can't don't go and buy a car or do something stupid like I did. Reinvest into the business.
Yeah. No, it's a good one. Yeah, Chicago one's more of a online business mentor training sort of. They're
Okay,
like a
yeah.
business coach one. Yeah. So
Yeah, well, something like that is perfect.
yeah.
You'd use Todd's for the practical, and then the Chicago guys for the business side of things. And, just talk to people as well. Talk to people in the industry and find out what they're doing and how they're doing things. You'll get a few guys that just go, "Oh, I'm not applying to you because who are you?" But you'll find guys like ourselves. We get asked all the time. You know,
Yep.
oh, what are you guys doing? Like, what compounds do you use? And we tell people because it's not a secret. Like, they're in photos on the wall. You can see them in every photo. So
Yeah, I always wondered that. Like, that's why I asked you about your polish because, yeah, everyone's like, "Oh, I use this," but they won't really say. I'll say what I use, but I said it's anyone can go and buy it. It's no like professional grade.
that's
That
right. And
yeah,
the biggest thing as well with or anything service based like what we do, whether you're a plumber or an electrician or a detail or whatever, you're not all going to be able to do the same quality of work. Like there's always going to be someone better than you, and there's always going to be people worse than you. So I think just do as best as you can possibly do, and try and ignore all the side noise that's coming in at you from other people, and other businesses. Just focus on your own business and getting it as best as you can.
yep. Stay in your own lane and just focus on what you're doing, not what everyone else is doing. And yeah,
Exactly, man. if I worried about all the other PPF installers and detailers that are a lot cheaper than us, I'd never get a wink of sleep. Like I'd be up worrying about it all night. But you just kind of, and sometimes I still do. Sometimes it gets in my head that like, a business our size can still have a slow week or so. And I go, oh, shit, we're going to have to do this and we're going to have to lower our prices and all that. But the next day the phone rings and we book in 5 or 6 jobs. So it doesn't matter.
Yep. Yeah, I've had that. Yeah, you think what am I
That's
going to do
right.
next week?
And
Next week, you're flat out.
everyone will go through it a couple of times every year. Like it's just it's, yeah, like one of the boys says here, he goes, mate, it's just a roller coaster, ups and downs.
Yeah. Yep. It's all part of business. So
That's right.
it's good. Any interests outside of your day-to-day business?
Um, I've just had a baby, so we've got a 10-month-old at home. So I don't, unfortunately, with the amount of work that we do, I don't get to spend as much time with him as I'd like. Um, there's some days where he's constantly screaming, so I'm kind of glad I get to go to work as well. But yeah, spending a bit of time with the young fella and with the wife as well on the weekend is good. But I also love my golf. That's my
Yep.
other, that's my outlet. And I've got a drum kit here at the shop as well. I've built a little room that I can have a bash on because I've been into that since I was 15. So yeah, they're the three main things in my life apart from SPD.
Yep. How's dad life changed perspective on
It's
things a little?
it's it's hard, and he's a really good baby. Like he sleeps, he eats, he doesn't really have, he's got no problems. He's healthy, he's great. But they're babies, so they can have their moments where you just want to pull your hair out.
Mm.
But I think it's something that's not really talked about enough in terms of that sort of space where being a dad or a mum is hard. It's not an easy job, just like any other job. Everything has its difficult moments. So knowing how to deal with that mentally and pushing through it and just getting on with it is definitely a skill.
Mm. And I think all the
But yeah,
all,
I'm loving it, man. It's awesome. It's really good.
no, it's pretty cool. Definitely changed my perspective on things. So, and trying to be home more and that work-life
Yeah,
balance we all try and have.
and every parent's had it as well, where you get in an argument with your dad when you're a teenager and or your parents, and I'll say you'll understand when you're a dad. And I've had a lot of those light bulb moments in the last 10 months. Going, oh yeah, that makes sense now. So
Mm.
changes your perspective on life when you've got someone more important than yourself. So
Yeah. And all the wives out and mums out there dealing with it day in, day out, we always say they get it easy. They're
oh,
always out and about drinking coffee here and there, but they're
yeah, they're
putting up
not,
with it. No,
mate.
that's all right.
And my wife's an ICU nurse as well, so she's had a year off, but she had to go through COVID with people. She had to
Mm.
um, she has to go through people with proper illnesses every day. So respect to her for being able to deal with the little man and all that other stuff she goes through at work mentally. I don't know how she does it. Very strong
Mm.
woman.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's very, very interesting. And I think they do a great job. So,
Yeah.
all right. Nothing else, mate. You got anything else to chat about?
We're
You
wrapped
pretty
up.
good? Yeah, pretty
No,
much.
that's pretty much it, mate. No, I think
Yeah.
I'm all good.
Well, thanks for your time. I know you're working day to day, so took you away from the tools for a little bit, but yeah, thanks for taking the time to jump on the pod, and it's been good.
No worries, man. Thanks so much for having me, and yeah, really enjoyed it. It's good to chat to someone just about the things we go through here at SPD, and that it's it might look like online that it's all roses, but yeah, things even as like business of our size, we're probably one of the bigger guys in the country. We still have our difficulties, just like the little guys. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's good. It was really good.
yeah, no, that's it. So might be some things coming in shortly from you guys as well, product wise, apparently.
Yeah, we're gonna release our own little line of maintenance products. It's not going to be for the pros. It's just going to be for the punter on the weekend that wants to wash their cars. So we've got it's the stuff we use here at SPD. It's going to be its own line called Pure Car Care Products. Um, and yeah, we've got a small range of products, which is just shampoo, quick detailer, glass cleaner, tire shine, and a wheel cleaner as well. We've also got a towel and a mitt and a wheel brush. So pretty much whenever someone gets their car coded or how do I maintain it, we go buy all this stuff and you'll be fine.
Yep.
And it's we've probably been testing it all and doing different formulations of everything for the last 12 to 18 months and just tweaking little things as we go. So yeah, it's finally at the point now where we're ready to get the website up and release it and next couple of months. So
No, that's awesome. It's good to see a lot of brands doing that now. Like we used to get all our stuff from overseas. Now you can sort of buy it here, and as a detailer like yourself, good for the customers.
It's all locally made as well. It's all made down in Melbourne, and we have a pretty hands-on involvement with it all as well, in terms of testing and finding what we like, what we don't like. All the bottles are made down in Melbourne as well, and everything as well. So it's 100%. Apart from some of the ingredients have to come from overseas, but yeah, majority of it is all Australian.
Yep. No, I think you cannot escape some of the ingredients, but like you said, and even talking to Dan the other week, there is same with him and a few others, Mirror Finish. So everyone's sort of, and it's good for your customers. Like it's a good maintenance package to give to them. Like
we've probably had the products, here in the shop for the last 12 months. We had them all bottled up, and then as I built this shop up, I've kind of put it on the back burner and just went, I don't have the time to dedicate to this properly. Whereas now it's getting more to the point where I'm going to have that time, and maybe someone else will come on and help me out with it as well in terms of promoting it and getting it out there. I don't expect it to be a global brand like Geon or Maguire's or Auto Glim or any of those sort of things. But for people that want a good product at a good price, and it's proven it works with us, so why can't the average guy just have a go at it as well?
Yeah, no, that's really good. So, no, awesome to see. So, watch your space on that. So, all right, we'll wrap it up, and I'll let you get back to it. So, thanks for your time and. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Cheers, Mitch.
All right, man. Thank you. Have a good one.
Cheers. Thanks.
That was another episode of the Detailing Down Under podcast. Subscribe now for everything auto detailing in Australia.